All right, you better be ready because Apple is about to unveil their biggest iPhone lineup ever. There's gonna be more choices, more models to choose from, different variations, and a brand new model that I think is going to shape the entire iPhone lineup going forward. And the more I look at all these leaks, the more excited I get because we have never seen Apple push the iPhone this far before. So for this video, I am going to tell you about the 5, yes, I'm not kidding, 5 different iPhone models you can expect this year, how much each iPhone will cost. That's right, I got prices, I got price information, and when Apple will host these 2 separate iPhone events. Yeah, 2 different events with iPhones at them. So it's gonna be an exciting year. Let's start in chronological order with an iPhone you should be able to get as soon as, get ready for this, next week. It could only be a week away. Yeah, the new iPhone SE. And before you go skipping to the next part of this video because you think this phone is boring, hear me out, because this may end up being one of the most exciting iPhones of this year. Because the new 2025 iPhone SE is going to be a monumental upgrade like we've never seen before compared to the previous SE models. That model still has an incredibly old iPhone 8 design, which still has a home button, top and bottom bezels, and not to mention it's the only iPhone that is still sold with an LCD display. That's why this SE is going to be a very big deal. The upgrades here are going to be an insane jump from the previous model. The new SE will feature a 6.1-inch OLED display. It will get rid of the home button. It will come with Face ID. And basically in terms of the design, it will look like an iPhone 14, complete with the notch, but instead of the Lightning port, of course, it will also have a USB-C port. However, despite this major redesign on the outside, it's actually the internals of the iPhone SE that are going to be the most exciting because it is getting a massive upgrade, moving from the A15 chip all the way up to the A18 chip. That is the same chip in the iPhone 16. Not only will it get the flagship chip, but because it needs to run Apple Intelligence, it will also get double the memory as well. So 8 gigabytes of memory in a budget-oriented phone. Basically, it will have the same exact power as an iPhone 16 at a $300 cheaper price point. That in itself is a killer deal. Like, Apple has never released a phone with that modern of a design and with guts that competent before at that low of a price point. And yeah, I know what you're thinking. This kind of sounds too good to be true. How the heck is Apple charging $500 for this phone? Well, there are some regressions that the SE will have over a regular iPhone 16. Basically, Apple will be shipping an older design without a dynamic island on the SE. It will look older, so that is one cost-cutting measure, and probably the biggest cost-cutting measure is that there will only be one 48-megapixel camera on the back. Still, for $500, an iPhone SE with finally a modern design, an A18 chip, and the 48-megapixel camera, it is probably going to be one of the best values in the entire smartphone market, and it could end up being one of the most popular iPhone models this year if consumers are really concerned about price, which I think they're going to be. So if you're interested in the iPhone SE, get ready because it's coming very, very soon. The next iPhones are all related to the iPhone 17, so those are coming later this year. But Apple does have big plans with the entire iPhone 17 lineup. In fact, they are going to launch 4 unique iPhone models at this event. This would be the ones you're pretty familiar with in concept, the new iPhone 17, the iPhone 17 Pro, and the iPhone 17 Pro Max. Now, the iPhone 17 is rumored to have some pretty big changes that would make it a lot more like the Pro models, and it could address one of the biggest complaints that you have had with the normal iPhone model. I'm talking about you specifically, Stan, the man you're watching this, I know you've had a big problem with this. And that's right, Apple is finally bringing the 120Hz ProMotion always-on display to the regular 17 model. The faster refresh rate will no longer be exclusive to the Pro-level phones. I'm so sick and tired of hearing about this in the comment section that the normal iPhone stinks because the refresh rate is 60 Hz. So this will save me a lot of headache and it will save you money, which I guess is important because you're too poor to afford the Pro phones. That's okay. I'm not making fun of you. I consider myself one of the poors. But seriously, let me know in the comments below, does 120 Hz matter to you at all, and would it influence your decision to pick a normal iPhone model over the Pro model? Now, another big upgrade the iPhone 17 will be getting this year is a new anti-reflective display coating that will reduce glares and be more scratch resistant than the current ceramic shield coating. And that's a good upgrade because there's a lot of poor people out there that scratch their iPhone and they can't get a new one or they can't afford Apple Care. So I guess that's good news. You'll also be getting an upgrade from the A18 chip to the A19 chip. That is one of the big rumored upgrades for the 17. And there's also another big upgrade, the front-facing camera. And I know you're like, oh, what about the front-facing camera? What was possibly gonna happen there? Well, good friends of the channel, it will be getting a massive upgrade from a 12 megapixel front-facing camera to a 24 megapixel front-facing camera, doubling the resolution. And think about that, just a few years ago, iPhones came with a main 12 megapixel camera. Heck, the rear telephoto camera on the iPhone 16 Pro is still a 12 megapixel sensor. So it's insane that we're about to get 24 megapixels on the front-facing camera, and that would just be a giant upgrade there. Like, I don't know about you, but I use the front-facing camera all the time to take selfies of myself because I'm obsessed with how beautiful I look all the time. And, for videos too, like front-facing video quality, it's pretty great on the iPhone's front-facing camera. So any upgrade Apple makes here, especially as one as big as doubling the megapixel count and probably the sensor size itself, should result in some pretty nice upgrades. Now, one thing we aren't getting this year is a new iPhone 17 Plus. Apparently, Apple is just getting rid of this model and sticking with just one iPhone 17, one regular model. So I think because of that, they're probably gonna increase the size to make up for that. So the current iPhone 17 is 6.1 inches. The Pro phones last year got a bump up in size with the smallest size going to 6.3 inches. So I think the normal 17 will probably ship with a 6.3 inch display. But if you're a fan of that normal big size Plus model, it is not coming this year. But we still will be getting Pro phones, and they are rumored to be getting even more upgrades than the normal model with a brand new design. First of all, Apple may finally be changing how the camera design looks on the back of the iPhone 17 Pro. They will finally be getting rid of the 3 square camera bump design and instead moving over to a rectangular camera bar design that will take up the entire top half of the phone. I assume this is so Apple has more room to fit in bigger camera sensors and bigger camera lenses than they currently can with the current camera arrangement. Second of all, Apple will switch the current titanium frame on the Pro model to an aluminum frame in order to shave off even more weight and possibly even more thickness off the Pro models. The only reason why I can think Apple is getting rid of titanium, a more premium material than aluminum, is just to make these Pro phones even lighter. Aluminum weighs less than titanium, so this is the only decision that makes sense. They just want to make lighter phones. And I guess based on the other rumors about the iPhone 17 lineup, this may be true. Apple may be going for thinner and lighter phones. But another important design decision with this aluminum frame is that Apple is also planning to make the back of the iPhone 17 Pro incorporate an aluminum design. It's going to be a mixture of aluminum and glass, with the top part of the iPhone containing the new aluminum body and the bottom half being made from glass so it can still support wireless charging. The way I think this final design will look with the big rectangle camera bar on the top, with the aluminum frame providing extra durability to the camera housing, and I believe it will somewhat look similar to how the iPhone 5 design looked with its aluminum and glass back. However, this time it will be both equal parts aluminum and glass. Now, the reason why the camera design is changing is because Apple has some big plans to improve the iPhone camera this year. Right now, rumors point to bigger main camera sensors and that all the rear cameras on the iPhone 17 Pro will feature a 48 megapixel sensor. Of course, the iPhone 17 Pro will also get a lot of the same upgrades that the iPhone 17 is getting, including the 24 megapixel front-facing camera and an upgraded chip. However, the chip upgrade on the 17 Pro will be more impressive with an A19 Pro chip that gets an extra GPU core, and it will also feature an increase to 12 gigabytes of memory instead of 8 gigabytes, making this the most amount of memory on an iPhone ever. Which is crazy considering that just a year ago, not even a few years ago, a year ago, Apple was still selling Macs with just 8 gigabytes of memory. Talk about inflation. Furthermore, with all this extra processing power, Apple is also working on making the cooling of the iPhone 17 lineup better for all models, but in particular, the 17 Pro Max this year will get an exclusive vapor chamber cooling, which could lead to the best sustained performance on an iPhone ever, and it could mean that more powerful games or more demanding tasks that can be sustained for a longer period of time are going to run even better on the Pro Max model, which is good because one of the big problems with gaming is when the phone chip does get hot, it does have to throttle down a bit. Whew, are we done here? No. There's one more thing, and yes, you've probably heard about it already. That would be the new iPhone 17 Air model. And I hate to say it because I always get some pushback on this, but this is the most exciting iPhone model. Because Apple is trying to push the limits of the iPhone design by making the thinnest iPhone ever. Now, there's multiple rumors on how thin the final design will be, but most rumors put it somewhere in between 5 and 6 millimeters, and that is much thinner than the previous thinnest iPhone design, the iPhone 6S, which was just 6.9 millimeters thick. Besides also being thinner, this iPhone will also be the lightest iPhone in the current lineup. Now, to shave on weight and thinness, Apple will only be including one camera, and it's just one 48 megapixel camera, just like they're doing on the SE, I guess. In fact, there's even leaks of the current design in the manufacturing process where you can see this new camera design with the rectangle camera bar that is coming to the iPhone 17 on this new iPhone 17 Air. So this leak is our clearest indication of the future design language going forward for all new iPhones. And yeah, I gotta be honest, it doesn't look that great, but I will give Apple some breathing room here. There's plenty of leaked designs that I have seen in the past from Apple that looked really bad until you saw the final product with all of its finish and glory. Now, besides being ultra thin, the iPhone 17 Air is supposed to have some pretty good specs, including the A19 chip, a 120Hz ProMotion display, and it's rumored to have a display size in between the current iPhone 16 and 16 Plus at around 6.5 or 6.6 inches. I also think we could see a few surprises with this iPhone, and I think one of those might be that it may have the thinnest bezels out of any iPhone, and I also have a sneaking suspicion that this will be the first iPhone model to feature a hole punch camera with Face ID sensors placed behind the display for a more futuristic look. Overall, if you can't tell, I am excited for the iPhone 17 Air because it is Apple trying something new, making a bigger phone, but also focused on making it more portable by making it thinner and lighter. And while Apple's usual strategy is to focus on increased power or better cameras, Apple this time is focusing on just making a different form factor, and it may lead to Apple experimenting with a lot of different form factor designs and expanding the iPhone lineup beyond the regular and Pro models. I think we could see a lot of different iPhone choices, different experiments, focusing on smaller, more niche markets, and I think that is a good idea for such a mature platform at this point because let's be honest, getting the same iPhone design year in and year out, knowing what to expect every single year for the past few years with the iPhone is getting a little boring. So anything to shake that up, even just trying to make a radically thin phone, you may think it sounds stupid, but I think people are gonna go crazy for it because, hey, it looks new and that's half the fun with a brand new iPhone design. Now you might be wondering, how will this iPhone lineup be priced, especially now that there's a new iPhone 17 Air model? Is that the cheaper phone than the iPhone 17? Is it more expensive than the iPhone 17 Pro? Is it somewhere in the middle? Well, I believe based on the rumors, the iPhone lineup is going to look something like this. So take that new iPhone SE we talked about in the start, with Apple removing all the old iPhones, no more iPhone 14 or iPhone 15 being sold, because they just don't really make sense value-wise with a new iPhone SE priced at $499, right? That's a better value. So new iPhone SE at $499, then you will have the iPhone 17 at the same price point as now at $799. So what's after that? Well, I believe it will be the iPhone 17 Air model, and I think this will be priced at $999, or let's just be honest, $1,000. But $999 looks better in marketing, so $999. Now, with the Pro models, normally they would also start at $999. And for the past few years, there have been rumors of the Pro iPhones getting more expensive, but that hasn't happened quite yet. However, this year, I think we may finally see a price bump. So the normal iPhone 17 Pro will probably start at $1,099, and the 17 Pro Max will stay the same, starting price at $1,199. But both phones will probably come with 256 gigabytes of storage as standard, and Apple will finally be getting rid of the base 128 gigabyte model. So there you have it, the complete iPhone 17 lineup, 5 new models, the most iPhone models Apple has ever made in a single year, and for the first time in a while, a new design that is sure to cause a lot of controversy going forward. All right, let me know. What do you think of the new iPhone 17 lineup for 2025? What model do you think you're going to pick up? And do you think that the iPhone 17 Air will be a hit or a miss? Or Do you think Apple is just going in the complete wrong direction by offering a super thin iPhone design? Is that thing gonna bend? Let's be honest. That's what we wanna know. Is that thing gonna bend? Let me know in the comments below. As always, if you like the video, give me a like, sub for more if you wanna see more, and thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.